Hi, this is Eugene Clark. I'm with Michael Berryman. We're where are we, Michael?
We're in Canada.
Right, Toronto.
At the Horror Rama. It's a convention.
Yes, October 17th, 18th to this 18th, 2015. Michael, you have a new movie coming up. Tell us about it.
Well, thank you, Eugene, for that lovely introduction. It's called The Storyteller. It's a film written, produced, and directed by Andrew Getty. It stars Sean Patrick Flannery, Dina Myers, Fred Kohler, Kim Darby is in it, and also Matthew McQuarrie. It's really a beautiful piece. It's a work of art. It's kind of it's based on a dream Andrew had. So we're really excited. It's been in post-production for 10 years, believe it or not. We will soon have a website. I'm on Facebook, Michael Berryman, and I'll be posting updates as we move along. Hope to get a chance to see it soon.
Now, Michael, you told me you're going to England. This is how we do it, only one mic. You're going to England to work on?
I'm leaving this afternoon to fly to London to do a little movie called Shed of the Dead with my buddies, Kane Hodder and Bill Moseley. And it's kind of like zombie apocalypse. People are living in a compound and everybody has to follow the rules, and you know how that goes. Should be fun.
Now, you mentioned something about, I heard you talking about eczema with a young man. Tell me about that.
Thanks, Eugene. I'm the son of a brain surgeon and a family of 3 generations of doctors and nurses. And I was born with a lot of birth defects. So learning how to be healthy and taking care of your body is very important. I've learned a lot. And a gentleman I met about a year ago, we were talking about eczema that I believe his father had. And I turned him on to some information about proper nutrition and ways to get healthier and have the body, heal itself. Well, he followed the advice that was in a particular book called Life Extension, written by Dirk Pearson and Sandy Shaw, who happen to be research biologists, and they're experts in nutrition, supplements, and they tell you why. And then also a company called Longevity, which was started by a veterinarian, Dr. Joel Wallach, who in the 80s produced a cassette lecture called Dead Doctors Don't Lie, and it talks about vitamins, etc., and how our food is made. So time passed. The gentleman was here today, had no idea, and he said, thank you, my father's doing so much better, and the doctors don't know why. So it was a wonderful, serendipitous, full circle. So again, I'd just say, try to be healthy, learn, study.
Now, for those of you who don't know, if you go to imdb.com, check out Michael's great body of work, The Hills Has Eyes, an icon. I remember first seeing him in, what was that? Weird Science.
Oh, Weird Science.
Weird Science. Do you have any advice for, now, one thing, if you read his bio, you'll see he had some difficulties coming up as kids. Kids would bully him. And he mentioned he didn't have anger skills, so he would go to the parents and tell them, you're bad parents. Tell me about that.
Thank you, Eugene. That's absolutely true. I was a good kid, had to go to Catholic school. Long story short, I was a good kid. And I had a buddy who had polio, and he had braces, and he walked funny. Kids would tease him, trip him. I'd get very angry. I never understood mean behavior. So when I saw kids either teasing me or somebody else or being mean, I figured that was learned behavior. And I'm 10 years old and I had these thoughts. Well, I carried them on through adulthood, and I would get angry with the kids. Sometimes I would get in a fight, but most of the time if the parent was available, I would go up to the parent and I'd go, your kid's mean. He's learning those attributes from you. You might want to help him out and change your choices so your kid doesn't wind up in jail or doing something really hurtful. Words hurt.
That's amazing. Children are way smarter than we give them credit for.
Absolutely.
They're really little young adults. So it was amazing that you were brave enough to do that.
Well, thank you. I don't think it was so much as bravery as I had a thin skin as a kid, almost literally, and if I was hurt, I would react. And then what I wanted to know, the person who was saying those things, that it was hurtful, and maybe if we switch places, if he has some empathy, or if we could switch places, maybe they would stop that behavior. So I think most people would, and the ones that would not, they're called sociopaths. So avoid them at all costs. And kids are sponges, they absorb everything, yes.
Do you have any advice for young aspiring artists, or basically people in general, if you look at your medical condition, and maybe you had several directions you could turn, what brought you into the industry, and what made you as a positive thinker, sort of person I would call a momentum maker as opposed to a momentum breaker?
Wow, I like that. A momentum maker instead of a momentum breaker. That is brilliant. I'm going to use that in the future. I actually wanted to be a veterinarian, but the ends of my fingers, they're called phalanges. I did go to med school for a couple of years. They're kind of worthless. I wouldn't be able to perform a procedure very well. So I didn't know what I was going to do. Second year at the university, I started studying art history. Loved it, loved music. So I took every art class I could take except sculpture, and I realized that my professors were telling me, maybe you could teach, that's about it, but artists in general pretty much starve, and then when they die, somebody discovers their work, and I go, wow, this is really good. So I said, I don't know if that's going to work. So I was actually going to homestead in Alaska. When I left the university, I had a minor degree in art history and didn't know what I was going to do. It was the early 70s, so I helped a friend rebuild a house that had burnt down in Washington State. 6 weeks later, I came back to California, had a little gift shop, and I was going to sell that and homestead in Alaska. I wanted to be a veterinarian, couldn't do that, so I figured I'd be a nature photographer and work with habitat preservation. Well, I never made it to Alaska. I had a gentleman walk in my store. His name was George Powell. He produced The War of the Worlds. I knew who he was. I was kind of excited, and he said, look, would you be in my movie? Are you an actor? And I go, no. And he said, well, here's my card. I want to put you in my movie for 2 days. I'll pay you $500, and I'll pay your dues for the Screen Actors Guild. I go, okay. Well, I did, and his casting director had another project called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So as I was packing my bags to go to Alaska, I get a phone call from Michael Douglas's people saying, you look like, and I go, yeah, my dad was a brain surgeon. It looks like I had a lobotomy. I had a craniectomy instead, but yeah, I could do that. So I did Cuckoo's Nest, and I worked for 127 days, and I asked a lot of questions. And we had the best camera people, the best sound people from Mutiny on the Bounty, all hand-picked. So I got paid $750 a week to work about a 90-hour week. My days off, I stayed on the set so I could learn and bug people and ask questions, and they gave me the answers. So now, 40 years later, I kind of know my craft pretty well. And so one job became another. There was times of in between where I was mopping floors, scraping bird crap underneath an exotic bird ranch floor, off of cement. I've been a taxi driver. I was even a private guard in Malibu for a very famous rock musician. Oh gosh, what else have I done? I've been a butcher, a candle shipper, not a candle maker, and I've been a lumberjack. I've climbed trees with chainsaws in the mountains. All kinds of stuff, but eventually it got to where my acting could pay my bills and take care of my family's needs. So I am always grateful, and to keep my promise, if anybody asks the question, I always say, thank you, George Powell, because I always promised him I would do what he asked. He said, if anybody asks you how you got started, you tell them that George Powell discovered you. And I go, kind of like at the deli in Beverly Hills, that famous where people get discovered. But I never wanted the fame. I never wanted the notoriety. I had plenty of it as a kid. But it gave me a chance to do other things, like meet Paul Newman and get involved in his charities where they find families in need and they cover all the expenses for the operations to reconstruct children's skulls and faces so they have a better quality of life. I lived at a wolf sanctuary for many, many years. I've been part and parcel of Wolf Mountain Sanctuary, and got my first tattoo. That's pretty much a depiction of where I live, and there's the mama and the baby. I also am 67 years old, and I like to stay in good shape. Now that it's winter, I'm going back in the gym and put another 15 pounds of muscle. I had a lot of surgeries, so I lost some muscle up there, but my point is, every day is a gift. And I used to suffer from depression, anxiety, but I learned how to have a natural approach to it. So one of the best ways is to do what you love to do and turn your hobbies into your career. You'll be very happy. And also, get up, exercise, eat right, eat real food, stay away from factory food. It's not good for you. Just the basics. And what I like to do is my heart beats. I have breath. So basically, I have a mantra that I have put into my day-to-day existence, which is I programmed me to understand that every heartbeat is like the beat of a drum. Okay? And the resonance from the beating of the drum, which is my heartbeat, which reminds me every moment is precious, because we're on limited time, folks, until we move on. Well, make that a short list of things you appreciate. That is the sound of the heartbeat. It is the sound of the drum, which is the beat of the earth, Mother Nature, all that good hippy-dippy stuff. It has relevance. So when you turn on the TV, if you're overwhelmed, put on a good, fun movie. I like to watch Matinee with John Goodman. I like to watch Doc Hollywood with Michael J. Fox. So always find some peace and tranquility in your day-to-day life. And when some days will be difficult, some days will be easy, but be grateful and try to make good choices and stay away from mean people because they suck. See, you put a camera in front of me, I get rambling.
Well, no, I want you to ramble.
Okay.
Many people, you have a gift, and you've lived 67 years on this earth, and you have a lot to offer. And there's much more to us than just being an on-camera actor or actress. And you can help somebody. Right now, I'm sure when this goes out, you will be helping a lot of people to go, oh, really? If he can do it, I can do it.
That's right. And I have you to thank for this message going on.
And you'll give them good tools.
Yes, I grew up with not a lot of tools. I grew up in the 50s and 60s as a child where we were to obey. My father was at Nagasaki and Hiroshima after the bomb. He was a Navy surgeon, went on a secret mission, and was studying the people that were radiated. He sent pictures at Ground Zero of people on the street where you could see what they were wearing, and you could see right through them and see what was behind them. When he came home, he was so happy to see my mother, he was smiling and glowing, and I mean glowing. So I was born with multiple birth defects. Do you see a connection there? It wasn't from watching Godzilla. That was an allegory about splitting the atom. Not the best thing we ever did. So there you go. I can't change my past. I can't change how I came about. But you can make a difference in your choices. Tomorrow's a brand new day, so make the best of it. And if you fail, there's no such thing as failure. There's always room for improvement. Make better choices. And enjoy this life. This is a pretty groovy planet. It's the only Class 9 or Class 7 blue planet I know of.
Well, folks, Mr. Berryman has a panel to go to right now. I want to thank you, sir.
Thank you, and I have one more thing I want to share.
Yes,
if you ever watch Motley Crue smoking in the boys' room at the end when they take my wig off, I did this. So here's a little back at you. It's kind of funny and silly, and I want you to go look in the mirror and practice doing this. It's easy to do two, but if you can do one and then the other, it's... Have fun with that. Take on your day.
Thank you.
All right, off we go.
Thank you, sir.
Kick ass, brother.
That was very
No,
good.
good question. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was excellent. All right. Have a good.
It's like in the movie Serenity, the signal, Captain Universe, the signal must go on.
Exactly.
Exactly.